Welcome to the Wednesday edition of the OTRSCentral Q&A. Thanks to those of you guys that submitted your questions. Let's kick this bad boy off. ALC729 asks, was 2002 the last year of the Attitude Era since it was the last time we saw the WWF logo? Yeah, I mean, it was kind of an end of an era in several different ways. I've always looked back at the name change and said that when WWF got the F out, the fun went with it. And in a lot of ways, I think that's true, and I think that still holds true to this day. And I think, yeah, that's always been accepted of when the Attitude Era really ended, even though I would argue that it ended back in 2001. WWE 961, a Team Generation versus Team PG, or Team New Generation versus Team PG. Who are the members and which side wins? Think a Survivor Series tag match. Why stop asking me these intricate questions that take moments to think about? Well, I guess New Generation team, you got to go with Brett, Sean, Taker. Oh, yeah, because I can. Sid, why not? Why not? And then I'll throw in Owen. And then Team PG, Triple H, Cena, Orton. That's all they would need. All right, anyways. Siki for life. Did WWE drop the ball by not having a full Shield versus Wyatt's feud? Do you think it would have been a big draw? I mean, they kind of did, but I get what you're saying. Like, they didn't have a full program with it. They kind of dove into it, and it was there for just a little bit, like a fleeting moment. Yeah, I think they dropped the ball by not having a full feud between the two factions. Would it have been a big draw? Most certainly. I mean, you remember how the people were excited heading into Elimination Chamber when those two teams were going to fight it out? I mean, yeah, it could have been a big draw. I think they dropped the ball more so that this wasn't a WrestleMania match. With those two factions or groups, they deserve to have a WrestleMania match, not the crap that the Shield ended up being involved with, not the crap that Bray Wyatt ended up being involved with. Burn Notice 3216. Fuck Reigns, fuck Bryan, and fuck everybody else. Can't Heath Slater just win the Rumble? It would still be better than Del Rio. I don't know about Slater winning the Rumble, but I will say this, is I do think Slater should get some type of a push. I'm with you there. I think they've underutilized him badly, and I think that's kind of a shame. Larrikin, what's your response to people who think that Derek Jeter's walk-off run in his last home game was rigged? To those that don't want to believe that and want to believe in the mystique of Derek Jeter and his ability to come through one more time, there's nothing you're ever going to tell them that will make them feel any differently, so why bother? To the people that live for the conspiracy theories, if you will, and believe that this was all served up on a platter and rigged and it was too perfect to be 100% legit true, you're not going to really be able to tell them anything differently. My personal thoughts, I get why people would think that. I kind of think that. But, unless somebody flat out comes out and says it, it's hard to prove. You can think whatever you want, but proving it, let's see here. Warboyus Corey. Who do you think the Raiders should hire as their new head coach? More importantly, I think, is when will the Raiders fire their general manager? Until that happens, you don't need to worry about a head coach. You got the wrong idiot at the top, so he's going to bring in the wrong idiot underneath him, just like he did with Dennis Allen. D. Rizzle, who was more instrumental in the rise of WWF in the late 80s, Hogan or McMahon? I don't know if you could say one was more instrumental than the other, because I think both played a great hand. Hogan, in a way, was more of the public face of it, but obviously Vince was the mastermind of so many things. Vince had the strategy. Vince came up with the game plan. He instituted the game plan, if you will. But without Hogan there, he wouldn't have been able to do what he did. And without McMahon, Hogan wouldn't have been able to do what he did to a degree. So I think it's kind of one of those things that one goes with the other, frankly. I don't know that one is more a part of why it happened and why it works so well. BW Roses, do you think TNA should just let Wrestle 1 have complete control over Bound for Glory, seeing as TNA doesn't view it as a priority? It kind of seems like Wrestle 1 does already have complete control over Bound for Glory. It most certainly doesn't seem to be a priority for TNA, and like I said, I talked about it last week, some of my thoughts as to why. You know, just more stupid shit from TNA, BW Roses. That's all I'm going to say. Let's see here. New Flavor 408. How would you book Bray Wyatt versus Gangrel? I wouldn't. And if I did, Bray Wyatt would bury his sorry ass at every turn. Sorry. That's how I feel. Let's see here. Mark Lioness Jr. Greatest faction theme of all time. NWO, DX, Evolution, Four Horsemen, etc. NWO. Then followed behind by the original versions of DX's entrance, but NWO to me has got to be the greatest faction theme of all time. Let's see here. Fuck, marry, kill. Nikki Bella, Eva Marie, and Cameron. I would probably fuck Eva Marie, marry Cameron, and kill Nikki Bella. Cena's touched it. I'm good. Let's see here. Jamie Ennis NZ, is there a place for a major hardcore wrestling promotion, or would nobody support it anymore? I mean, you have one, like in CZW. A few people care about it, but not that many. Major hardcore wrestling promotion? Some people say, what about House of Hardcore? It's just, my thing is that, at some point in time, when's somebody going to come up with something different? When's somebody going to do something new, something fresh, and stop trying to relive, the past? Or, I don't know if it would work, frankly. I really don't, because ECW was kind of one of those special things, and at the end of the day, it was still gone by 2001 too. Which is kind of sad, because they were actually putting asses in seats, and they went out of business because of bad business by Paul Heyman. Let's see here. I Play Heel 95. Do you think Baltimore Ravens could beat the Colts this Sunday? Sure. Ravens have looked good. They've been impressive. So they absolutely have a chance. Why can't TNA ever get any better? Because they can't stop being their own worst fucking enemy. It's that simple. In so many areas, they can't help but be their own worst enemy. Anti-OTRS. That's a good Twitter handle. Is Damian Sandow riding Mrs. Dick? I don't know. Why don't you ask him how big Mrs. Dick is? See, these are the types of questions I want more of. Let's have some the fuck, marry, kill questions. Questions like this. Everything always has to be buttoned down, serious wrestling questions. Spice it up. Let's have some fun. Throw me off guard a little bit, because I didn't even prepare this or anything. I'm just reading them right off of Twitter as I fucking go along. So, god damn it, that was good. Give me more questions like that. More questions like the fuck, marry, kills. Not all fuck, marry, kills or that, but other off-the-wall shit. Real Ziggy 23, with his birthday coming up soon, what are your thoughts on the late, great Eddie Guerrero? One of my favorites of all time. Talked about it in great length in the past. My personal opinion, I think a lot of people jumped on the Love Eddie Guerrero bandwagon after he died. And I think that's true. Sorry. But yeah, always was a big Eddie Guerrero fan. Always was. Loved Eddie. So, it's still sad, man. What, 9 years now he's been gone? 9 fucking years. Incredible. Rampager 213. With the recent report stating a potential face turn for Randy Orton, are there any positives out of this? Perhaps it would give me one more reason to stop watching the WWE altogether. Where are the positives in this? You went down this path, WWE. It sucked. Frankly, Orton as a heel sucks too. Did you ever think that just like with Cena, Orton is a product of the system and the machine placing him in a certain spot? Did you ever think that maybe this guy kind of sucks himself? You would think after so many years of doing it that the guy would get better. But to me, in so many ways, Randy Orton is the exact fucking same that he was 6, 8 damn years ago. And not nearly as entertaining as he was when he was the Legend Killer. And this is one of the top guys in the fucking company. You want to know why the WWE sucks in so many different ways on so many different levels for so many different reasons? Look at the boobs at the fucking top. John Cena and Randy Orton. John Cena and Randy Orton. Just think about that for a second. Oh, let's see. A rare breed RKO 97. Why do people consider you a muscle mark when you have regarded Eddie, Macho Man, and Jake as some of your favorites? Because people don't listen. Because people are fucking morons. Because people choose to set their own narratives if I dare ever talk badly about one of their golden children or I dare speak some facts or truths to them. But to sit there and label me solely a muscle mark because Hogan's my favorite of all time is completely and totally ludicrous. It is stupidity of the highest level. Just dumb. Dumb, 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 ding dong, dumb dicks. The Schlegdaddy is much less of a muscle mark than so many of you are indie marks. I believe if we did it fair, like had a neutral arbitrator come in, they would determine the Schlegdaddy was less of a muscle mark than you guys, a lot of you, were marks for flips and kicks and non-selling matches. I believe that to be true. Yeah. Macho Man, he wasn't a small guy, but he wasn't a fucking monster either. Eddie Guerrero most certainly wasn't. Jake was a tall guy, but I don't think you'd ever consider him the most muscular man in the fucking world. I'm a huge Owen Hart fan. Where does he fit into the muscle mark category, you stupid shits? I mean, seriously. Hell, when I was growing up, I loved the Rockers. Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty. Would you classify those guys as guys that are muscle? Would you classify me as a muscle mark for liking those guys? It doesn't make any sense. But that's what happens, though. Because when I sit there and imply that the people that weren't good enough athletes to get involved with other sports, the people that wanted to do something cool someday, and the only thing they could do at 5'10", 190 pounds, similar to my size, was become a professional wrestler, then they went and became a professional wrestler and sat there and changed the business in not such a good way. I'm pointing this out. This is true! Yeah, that aggravates me. That really does. Because it's just baseless. It's stupidity. And frankly, from some of the people that watch this channel, I guess I shouldn't be that surprised when I look at some of the comments and some of the retorts to some of the things I say. Dexter C73, what should WWE do with Bray Wyatt? Pretty much everything that they're not doing with him at the present time. Hell, on Raw, they used him as a vehicle to launch Luke Harper on a singles run. How about we worry about getting Bray Wyatt all the way there before we use him to launch Luke Harper? Fucking stupid shit like this. Ugh. Random WWE 1043. What other roles would you like Hogan to be a part of WWE besides being the guy that plugs stuff? Maybe occasionally incorporating him into a storyline where somebody's going to him for advice. I don't have a problem with seeing him occasionally, seeing him in a part-time role, but also in a way that is not overwhelming and not overbearing. I don't know that I'd want him to be how should I put this? An on-screen authority figure ever again. Matt Mefe 2. Should the WWE Network have ever happened? Seems there are more negatives about it than there are positives. Ultimately, that will be determined as time goes along. WWE had to do something because the state of the pay-per-view business necessitated as such. Instead of doing some of the things to fix their pay-per-view business model, they went in a different direction. So ultimately, time will tell. Uh, let's see here. Ebro 32995. What was life like in the 80s when there were landlines, TV, and very limited computer and internet? I'm a 90s kid. Uh, I will say this. I'd much rather play the old Nintendo console, the 8-bit console, than most of the consoles that have come afterwards. I think TV shows were a lot better back then because they actually tried to be creative back then, and the marketplace wasn't quite as oversaturated and diluted due to cable and satellite television. Landlines, yeah, I know, huh? When the cell phones, if anybody had one, they had to be special. They had to be super rich. They were like this fucking big. I remember even in the 90s, you know, you had to get online and you had to use Prodigy or AOL and you had to dial up, and it would be bad if I had to ever call my dad for something because he'd be on the internet for hours at a fucking time. And instead of putting in a second phone line or a dedicated computer line or even like doing what they used to do back when I used to sell long distance service years ago, mind you, from MCI, years ago, we used to sell, people would have a second line. Well, it was a phone number that worked onto the same line, but it was kind of split off so that way people could still call you. Instead of, him spending the extra 10, 15 bucks a month to do it, the cheap son of a bitch, he would just have the one line and that was it. If you were trying to call him on the house phone, go fuck yourself because all you're going to hear is for hours. Oh, the good old days. When you had to fucking go outside a lot of times to entertain yourselves. And even at that time, we had video consoles, you had cable, you had satellite TV. Granted, you didn't have the computer nearly to the level that you did, but some households still had computers and you had, some stupid games on them, sure. But we did a better job of entertaining ourselves. We were more creative. I'd rather have grown up then than I would now, that's for damn sure. All right, so let's see here. That's it. Thanks to you guys that submitted your questions for this Q&A. Sorry the raw review's delayed, but when I get around to feeling like recording it, probably tomorrow, I'll do it, and then you guys can watch it and bitch about what I have to say or praise me for what I have to say. Whatever. Thanks again for submitting questions. See you later.